It's sports time, and when it's time for sports, it's time for the Pressbox Chatter Show, your ultimate in-game for all things sports, all local. Each week, our guys are bringing you exclusive high school game content, in-depth insights, thrilling recaps, exciting previews, and taking you inside the pivotal plays of all of your favorite local high school teams like never before. So turn up those speakers, because it's no limits, no excuses. It's the Pressbox Chatter Show on WCLN.
Welcome to this week's Pressbox Chatter Show on Oldies 1170 AM, Star Communication Channel 16, Oldies1170.com, and the Mixler apps. Pressbox Chatter is sponsored by Crumpler Plastic of Roseboro, Sampson Orthopedic Group, Star TV, and the Sampson Independent. Go to Sampson Independent's website, clintonnc.com, to see the video replay of each week's show. Also, the video replay is available at oldies1170.com. In this week's show, we review action from Tuesday, October 8th through yesterday and preview the upcoming week's action. I'm Jeff Saub. I'm joined by the sports editor of the Sampson Independent, Brant Young, and the voice of Dark Horse Football, Jonathan Griffin. Welcome, gentlemen, again to this week's show.
Hey, thanks for having me back 2 weeks in a row. This might be a new record for me.
Yeah, we finally found it in the budget to be able to get you to come 2 weeks in a row, but I'm sure you'll miss it next week because we've already paid you out.
Oh, I mean, that's just how you got to do it sometimes.
We gave you an upfront bonus and it was like a retainer to get him for 2 weeks, and after that it's like I'll see you next time.
Next time you'll learn not to do the guaranteed money in the contract.
We'll hit all our sports as usual. Some sports are winding down, and actually for Heralds, they've got some sports that's starting their playoffs this week, so we're getting close to playoff time.
Playoffs?
Well, here I could hang on a second.
Oh, we love Jim Moore.
We'll get the
old
playoffs will start next week for volleyball. So
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
that's what you got to do in the playoffs. You got to win a game. So that's it. Playoffs for a lot of schools will start next week. Some sports start next week. Tennis, volleyball, for example, will be next. We'll get into all that. In fact, we'll talk about that now. The High School Athletic Association has decided to push back some things to try to help out schools affected by Hurricane Helene. Some people talk to me about it, and they'll say, well, did you see those schools? It's not going to help. Well, it's not maybe going to help everybody, but it's going to help some. And you're just trying to do something so they can get some games in. I know a few years ago when the East was impacted, things were pushed back a little bit, and some of the Brunswick County schools, for example, played 3 football games in 10 days, which is not ideal at all. But they've moved back a number of the sports in terms of the reporting when the playoffs are supposed to start. For example, women's tennis dual team is supposed to start this week. It'll now start next week. So their first round will be next Monday for that, and then the second round next Tuesday. Clinton, East Bladen, West Bladen should be in it as well too. When the seeding comes out this weekend, they'll have their first round matches next Monday. Volleyball will start next Tuesday now. That'll be their first round. And cross country, their regionals are the 26th coming up. I know women's golf, they have their regionals next Monday. We'll go over their qualifiers locally here shortly. Football's got the extra week added to it now. And that's kind of brought up an interesting thing. And we might be able to get Coach Priest here on the line from East Bladen. We're going to talk to Robbie Priest around 6:10. Get his opinion on it. It'll be one of the questions I'll ask him. You've got an extra week now between the end of the regular season, which is November 1st. Playoffs are originally supposed to start November 8th. Football playoffs will now start November 15th. And we talked about this some on the broadcast last week. But some teams, how do they want to approach that? Do they want to play? Do they not want to play? Do you risk injury?
See, I think if you're a school like Lakewood who has not had a bye week whatsoever, I think you take that 2-week break, you fix all your bumps and boo-boos, and you get back at it for the last week of the season because their last scheduled game is November 1st. So I think you rest and recuperate and just get back at it. But I think other schools, namely like Clinton, I think you try to get one more in there, keep that winning streak going, maybe beat up on somebody else for a little bit and, try to get that momentum going into the playoffs.
See, that's right. Well, for Lakewood, they're going to play this week, then be open, then play the last week of the regular season, then you'd be open again. And they do have a number of injuries, so I can see that. I can see some other schools, though, not wanting to have 2 open weeks close in. Some schools have an odd team conference. They may have the last week of the regular season open, and so you'd have 2. You wouldn't play a game for 3 weeks. It'd be interesting to see how some teams tackle it. And then teams that aren't going to make the playoffs, like Clinton, like West Bladen, do you play another game, or do you just wrap up the season?
So this is something that Saville and I both had not necessarily difference of opinions on, but just opinions nonetheless in terms of what you could do with this. I was thinking like you could use it as an opportunity to teach some of the, you've got seniors that are going to have their senior night, and then you've got some sophomores and some JV players. We just found out Friday, or at least I did, that 3 schools from Robinson County pretty much dropped their JVs. So now you've got JVs scrambling to find, can you move up some kids like Clinton did this past Friday when they didn't have a JV game and get some more playing experience. But then to Saval's point, he was like, you want to play a school that has some skin in the game, because there's nothing to lose for them to go out there and heaven forbid, play a little dirty or cause a little issue. Now you've got things that are covering over into basketball season and causing issues there.
Causing an issue in your playoffs. If you're making a team making the playoffs, you got an issue there. Somebody, again, if I'm a playoff team, if I'm going to schedule another game, I'm going to schedule a playoff team. I'm not going to schedule a non-playoff team, because, again, what's a non-playoff team have to lose? And if they start something and
I guess
players and basketballs, he gets suspended for it's only a game now or 2 maybe at most. They've weakened all those rules so much with the NCAA because the state legislature and their wisdom took it over. The suspensions aren't all that as they used to be. So I'd be more concerned if I was a playoff team playing a non-playoff team in an extra game. If something happening and some of my players getting kicked out, and then all of a sudden they can't play the next week. That's what I would be.
Okay, so I guess I misunderstood you on Friday. I was thinking like in the terms of Clinton, like if you're Clinton, you'll play anybody. But if you were the receiving opponent and you are making the playoffs, you wouldn't necessarily want to play Clinton, because to Saval's point, there's an opportunity where they don't have a skin in the game and pretty much just know.
Let me just say, we'll talk to Coach Priest here around 6:10. We'll maybe get his opinion and see what he thinks about an extra week there, and whether he knows some coaches what they're planning on doing. I reached out to a couple people, but I didn't hear back, so maybe we'll have more answers to that next week. Coach Priest wants to call at 6:10, so we'll hit a couple things here real quick, and then we'll get to Coach Priest on the line. Golf had a match last week, and then they had another one yesterday, and the regionals will start Monday. The 1A2A regional will be at Goldsboro. Last week in the match, it was Fairmont, Midway, Clinton, and Hopton, and Fairmont came out victorious again by 3 strokes over Midway and 5 in front of Clinton. For Midway, Maya Gwynn was second in the overall match. Ava Hargrove was 5th, and Karina Richards was 7th. For Clinton, Ella Rice finished 3rd, and Zoe Naylor finished 5th, and Hopton, Katie Britt finished 7th. Yesterday, it was Clinton, Hopton, and Fairmont, and Larkin Best for Clinton was number 1. Anna Levitt was 4th. For Clinton, Ella Rice was 6th. For Hopton, Carly Brooke Wade was 3rd, Katie Britt was 4th, and Madron Ramirez was 8th. For the regional qualifiers, again, they'll go qualify region for the state tournament. Regional qualifying is Monday at Goldsboro Municipal, and for Clinton, Ella Rice and Larkin Best will go. For Midway, Maya Gwynn will be their representative, and for Hopton, Katie Britt will go. It's a 1A, 2A regional.
Goldsboro Municipal, too. I've played that golf course once before, and I enjoyed it. I'd like to get a chance to play it again, but obviously now it's their turn to go play. I can't get a tee time because of the regionals going on.
Monday. Yeah. We'll come back with an interview with Coach Robbie Priest of East Bladen. Come up next here. Thanks for joining us here on this week's edition of Pressbox Chatter.
The Pressbox Chatter brought to you in part by Crumbler Plastic Pipe Incorporated, agricultural drain systems, constructed wetlands, septic sewer drain pipes. For more information, call 910-525-4046 or log on to the website www.cpp-pipe.com.
Stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group. Whether it's a sports injury, joint pain, or the need for expert surgical care, Sampson Orthopedic Group has you covered. Our team of skilled providers are here to get you back and doing what you love, pain-free. From advanced joint replacements to comprehensive sports medicine, we offer personalized, compassionate care that will get you back to doing what you love. Discover expert care right here in your community at Sampson Orthopedic Group. Call Sampson Orthopedic Group today at 910-590-1001, 1001, and stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group.
Hello? Yeah. Yes. Wide open, big man. How you doing?
Here we go. Covering Sampson County and Bladen County sports all year. We got Coach Robbie Priest with us. Thanks for joining us here on Pressbox Chatter. We'd like to
Yes,
talk.
sir. Glad y'all can have me.
Well, first off, let's go back to last Friday's game. You had a big win over a very good Heidi Trask team. Kind of a defensive struggle, a 12-6 win.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of high-powered offense going on that night.
Talk
They
about
tried to run it, so we were kind of out of there early.
talk about Kewan Maynard though. He had the 2 touchdowns for you, one on a rush and one on a 55-yard interception return.
Yeah, he's a leader quarterback. He's been starting at quarterback for 3 years now. So, good kid, heck of an athlete, and we were happy to have his big plays the other night.
Sean Campbell was your leading rusher the other night, 21 rushes for 69 yards. Talk a little bit about his contributions.
He's a junior. Straight A's across the board. He does a lot of things for us. Well-rounded kid. He's a leader. We just usually we don't ride the fullback a whole lot, but the other night it just happened to work out that way. But he hard-working young man that deserves everything that's going to come his way.
All right. Defensively, then, obviously an excellent game defensively, holding Trask, who came in at 5-2, holding Trask to 6 points. Who's some of your leaders on defense?
Cole Butler, Julius Battle, Xavier Potts, and Deshaun Campbell, and as you mentioned before, Kewan. It was a collective, good effort, good night for us. We wanted to play in the phone booth, and they obliged us. So that's how we're going to have to win with this group.
Yeah, Coach Priest, this is Jonathan Griffin that I've met you a couple times broadcasting with Ron, and I just thank you again for coming on the show. I wanted to ask you a question. How many years now have you been coaching for East Bladen? You've been there for quite a while.
Year 28 right now as the head coach. I think I started in 2012 as the head coach, but I was Coach Fisher's assistant for 15 years. So, and I've still got him on staff, so it's nice to have his brain around to pick some knowledge off of every now and then.
I can imagine. I always bring up your story to anybody that's looking for inspiration of fighting through a battle of tough times, and you obviously went through a tough time. If you wouldn't mind, I know that community really rallied around you, and you had calls from probably former players and former acquaintances of other schools and stuff. But how has that community just rallied around you and supported you during your time there at East Bladen?
It's been awesome. No place like home. That was 2017. I was diagnosed, and as soon as you hear that C word, you think you're going to die. You think the worst. But the community around here was unbelievable with the fundraiser stuff, the cookouts, the prayers. Everything was just unreal. Says a lot about the local town and the people and the folks we got around here.
Coach, I appreciate that. I know you've got another game coming up here against West Columbus.
Yeah, talk about the rest of your regular season. You got West Columbus and then Whiteville. What challenges does those two teams present to you in the next couple of weeks?
West Columbus is next on the schedule. They're usually athletic. Last year they were unbelievably athletic. Usually well coached. On film. What worries us is their passing game. We don't. It's hard for us to mimic a spread offense. So, once we see it, it usually takes us a quarter to adjust. But, hopefully the boys are dialed in now and, come ready and show up ready to play on Friday night. We had 2 good days of practice, so we'll see what Wednesday and Thursday holds.
So you're getting contrasting styles with a run heavy Trask team to a pass happy West Columbus team.
Oh yeah, and they can run it. They do spread the run. Last year they ran it pretty good on us. So hopefully we can learn from that. Be ready for it.
I got one other question I'll get to about your season, but Ron Davis just wanted me to ask this question. Do you consider yourself an eagle, or a cougar?
I'm like a hybrid, I believe. I graduated as a cougar, and then I think I'm morphed into an eagle. So
You're the best of both worlds.
Realms to that philosophy.
He's an East Bladen guy, is what he is,
yeah,
regardless of the mascot.
That's it. That's the most important thing. We bantered this around. Jonathan and I did on a broadcast. We talked about it here a little bit at the start of the show. The State High School Athletic Association has extended the season a week, and so you got that November 8th that's now open or available. The playoffs will start the 15th. Well, you play West Columbus this week, Whiteville next week, and then you're open the last week of the regular season. What are your thoughts about the November 8th date? Is that something you're going to look to try to play, or do you want the 2 weeks before playoffs?
I'd like to take the time to work on us, if I could be selfish about it. So, hone in on some things, get some younger guys some extra looks, that could help us out for the playoff wise, and just shore up everything that we're trying to do and get that installed and in place and move on and plug and play, with some younger guys that may have gotten looked over a little bit with the JV schedule being so up and down, but that's where I'm headed. That's where I'm leaning.
Have you talked to other coaches about their thoughts about that? Is a lot of them going to do something similar to what you're doing, just going to focus more on self?
Actually, I haven't talked to another coach other than Coach Marcos at Huey. And I just got off the phone with him, and that's the only one I've talked to lately. But back on your thing, extending the season, I got some buddies that coach out at AC Reynolds, and my heart goes out to them and their community, all of the Western North Carolina, parts. I can't imagine, couldn't fathom what they're having to go through and endure. Thoughts and prayers are with those guys.
Coach, we wish you the best of luck, and congratulations on a good win over Trask last week. Best of luck against West Columbus and Whiteville coming up, and then the playoffs. So we keep an eye on reporting on everything here at Pressbox Chatter. Thanks for your time, Coach.
Yes, I appreciate it. Keep running straight for me.
Well,
thank you, Coach Priest.
Some things are impossible. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Coach Priest is always a good guy to talk to. Once you get him going, you could kind of tell early on. Once you get him like comfortable, and then he'll chat with you. Some he's a good dude. And I did not realize it had been 28 years that he had been in East Bladen. I knew he had been there a long time, but 28 years is,
The end he might be able to see the end there.
the light at the end of the tunnel.
Light at the end of the tunnel. Well, we'll get into football then. For East Bladen, their win 12-6 over Trask this past week. And as we mentioned the stats already, East Bladen now sits at 3-5 and 2-2 in conference play, and they'll be at 1-5 West Columbus this week. We'll go to Clinton now, and we'll go Southeastern Athletic Conference football first. Clinton and West Bladen conference matchup, as all teams are in conference play now. And Clinton gets their first win of the year, a 40-12 victory over West Bladen.
Yeah, this was a game where the dark horses kind of left no doubt. I mean, West Bladen was depleted a little bit. Starting quarterback was out. Starting wide receiver was out. But Hezekiah Blanks Adams, Saul and I were really impressed with him from West Bladen. Had 22 carries for 116 yards, a touchdown, 2 fumble recoveries with a touchdown, and 1 interception. And that interception may have been one of the best plays.
Oh, that diving one?
Yeah. As a defensive back coach, Saul was up there salivating over that play because he put a foot in the ground, he stepped it, read it, he just dove right in front of it, and that was good play. But to the dark horses, they get their first win. Freshman running back Miller over 100 yards. I thought that kid looked good. The future is bright with him. And then Henry Bass, 3 touchdowns passing. he's coming on strong. And
And junior, that's something,
Yeah.
obviously something to build on there with
And-
him.
and-
And since he started, that's opened up the offense so much
Yeah,
more.
it has, and they did it all without Jaden Williams, potentially
Yeah.
their best player on both offense and defense. So they'll play at Red Springs this Friday night. Dark Horse have a chance to get a second win, and I believe then they have St. Paul's, and then they are Fairmont, and so St. Paul's is going to be a tough one, but theoretically, Dark Horse could look to maybe get to 3 or 4 wins on the season. And honestly, if you had asked us that after about the first 3 games of the year, it would have been that could be tough. But I really like the way that this team is starting to move in the right direction.
Yeah, I texted our boy Dayron Barefoot during the game, and I told him this is a night and day difference in the teams. The first 3 weeks compared to now is just an entirely different ball club. But to preface the rest of the football talk, I just want to brag a little bit on myself. I went 6-0 in my picks last week, and I was within 2 points of a final score on one of these games, and I'll let you know which one that is. But yeah, I had the Dark Horses winning this one. They scored offense, defense, and special teams, and I got to give a shout out to number 53, Delavan
Hicks.
Yeah, Hicks. My big boy was out there. He got that punt block recovery, and he was trotting down there towards the end zone. So made sure to get his.
Count, but
Too bad.
Yeah, he got called back on one of the 1,800 penalties the referees
Well, it's
called.
a muff punt. You can't return a muff punt
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that.
you can't?
No, you'd have to be running with it and actually fumble. But in terms of
Oh.
a muff, he couldn't run and call. So that was the reason for that being called back.
Oh, I
unfortunately.
thought it was.
But he did have some good moves there. And that's the theme for this week is defensive scores. Clinton had the block punt and scoop and score for a touchdown. Hezekiah Blanks Adams had a fumble recovery for a touchdown. This will be a common theme as we're going to see here as we go through the ball games. There's a lot of defensive scores this past week. West Bladen will host now 6-1 Midway this week, and we'll go to Midway. Midway with a thorough trouncing of Fairmont, 57-6 this past week.
Yeah, I believe that score might have been 57-6 at halftime, and they decided to just call off the Dogs, or in this case the Raiders, for the remainder of the game. But Midway moves to 6-1, 2-0 in the conference. I tell you, they've got a couple more games left before that showdown with St. Paul's, and that very well could begin the last game of the season. Right now, if the High School Athletic Association, the tournament started today, the playoffs, then they've got Midway as being a 6 seed. That's assuming that they win the conference, because they've got St. Paul's as being a 22 seed. So Midway, that gives them at least 2 rounds at home, which I don't know that they've ever had at Midway. And so the prize is in front of them. Can they just not sleepwalk it? As you look at some of the stats, Kamari McNeil, 2 carries for two carries. I thought that was a
Yeah,
typo.
he averaged 50 and a half.
Yeah, I thought that was a typo.
Good.
Yeah, so well, that's good. You'll take that, right? Do you think your brother in Wyoming would take that? Yeah, I think he would take that. 2 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nathaniel Miles, 6 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. Jaden Stocks and Thomas Perez with each a rushing touchdown. Is this rushing yards
Yes,
comparison?
that was their team. That was
they
Midway.
Okay,
Midway had 30
carries.
rushes for 347 yards. That's averaging over 10 yards, 11 yards actually a carry.
And then Caleb Paul had a fumble return for a touchdown. Midway will be at 1-5 West Bladen. You can go ahead and put that one in the books.
Yeah, I might put that in tomorrow's paper.
You
as
get
well.
that? You get that right too? You think that, Brad?
That's moving to 7-1. And if you look at it, Midway's only loss is still to undefeated James Keenan, who defeated Kinston the other night.
The only person to beat Midway this year has been Mother Nature herself. I might have also said that in the newspaper. But I didn't think we would get here so early, but I predicted this final score at 55-6, Midway winning. And the only qualm I have here is, did we need those extra 2 points? Because I just want to nail one score one time this year, and I was off by 2. So, but yeah, this was just an absolute, whatever Midway wanted to do, they did.
Well, you missed the over-under then by 2 points.
I didn't set a line on that one because unfortunately my bookie doesn't take high school games.
Your bookie?
Yeah.
Hang on a second. That'll be good.
Oh, Saul's got another one.
Uh-oh.
Let's see what's that. I don't have it on my thing.
Oh. I'm anxious to hear what that would have been.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
Saul's got all these little quirky things over there we don't even know, like in terms of like play and stuff. So.
But yeah, no, Midway's on a roll right now. Call 'em butter because they are on a roll.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that game with St. Paul's is going to be one for the ages.
Now there is an opportunity, depending on, and we've talked about this, but there's a potential opportunity that we could take the radio crew down there if that one is for the conference championship and cover Midway and St. Paul's. That's not set in stone yet. Usually we're with Clinton all day, every day, but like this Friday we're doing Lakewood and Hopton.
Hey, I'll be there.
Yeah, we're doing Lakewood and Hopton, and then there's an opportunity for, we've already talked about, if St. Paul's and Midway are opportunity, we'll have to, Sowell has, when he crosses that county line into Robinson County, weird things just start happening in Sowell, so we'll have to wrap some bubble tape around it.
Can I call in and be your sideline reporter for the Clinton game?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, then that works out for me because I'll be at the Clinton game that week, and I will gladly be your Aaron Andrews of your radio crew.
All right. Here.
You don't look anything like Aaron.
It's the hair, isn't it?
This is Brand with his good game right here.
Let's get ready to gamble. Winner.
There you go. All right.
That's good stuff.
Harrell's 50, Grace Christian nothing. That is Harrell's 6th win in a row. They are now 6-1, 3-0 in conference play. They remain tied with Trinity for first, and we'll get back to Trinity here in a little bit. So Harrell's with a big win, homecoming for them last week.
Yeah, 6-1, 3-0 now on the year. Takeshi Brunson, 5 rushes, 105 yards and a touchdown on a 67-yard run. The team rushed for 21 carries for 210 yards. Demetrius Jones and Gerard Miller with rushing touchdowns. Reed Strickland only had to throw it 3 times, only completed one of them, but 48 yards was efficient to Sean McCoy for a touchdown. Nash Tanner with 6 tackles. The defense had 4 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery, and 3 defensive scores in this ball game. Again, Sowell over there salivating over the defense. Greg Smith, 29-yard fumble return for a touchdown. Jamar Peterson, 45-yard interception return for touchdown. And Coley Sasser with another 14-yard interception return for a touchdown, with Braden Fedrick and Connor Castine had interceptions as well.
So they had 3 defensive touchdowns there.
Yeah, so they will be at 3-5 Ravenscroft. I caught up with Coach Mallard, defensive coordinator, Coach Mallard, Saturday down here at the street fair. And to piggyback on our previous segment with Coach Priest about scheduling the extra game, and their thing was they're kind of caught between whether to take the extra week off and work on themselves, or how to do that. But then things can be different for private schools, so I'm not sure if they'll go ahead and start
I thought their playoffs started the same, but I could be wrong.
and they may very well. I was just getting his opinion on it, but right now they're looking at potentially having to travel, even as good as they are, just because of the way things work out.
It's going to depend on. They have to win this week. They're at 3-5 Ravenscroft. If they win, then they will host Trinity for the conference championship the following weekend. And then that's obviously, you win that one, you'll move up into one of the top 2 or 3 spots and have home playoff games. You lose, then you'll be on the road.
And Trinity likes to throw it around the yard.
Oh, yes, they do. Yeah, this is one of the, from a sports writer's perspective, this is one of the most fun teams to cover. Examples of things that I've said about Harrell's Christian. It's not too late to get on their bandwagon. There's a wagon coming through town, and it's full of Crusaders.
You're full of jokes.
Yeah, I even quoted Dan Patrick, you can't stop him, you can only hope to contain him. So yeah, I last week called Harrell's hanging a 50 burger on Grace Christian, and they did that right on the dot. I went 6-0 with my picks last week. But yeah, they hung a 50 burger on him right there on the dot. I've also likened their offense to Oprah Winfrey giving out gifts, because you get the ball, you get the ball, you get the ball.
They do have a lot of people that carry football.
And I also likened it this week to Thanksgiving dinner, because everybody eats. That is just such a fun offense.
I like the butter on the roll.
Yeah, call me butter because I'm on a roll.
That is funny. You have to put that one on the.
Harrell spreads it around, and pretty much all their backfield. I think everybody in that backfield is
Everybody eats.
underclassmen. I don't think there's any senior. There's maybe one senior.
Oh, young. Is Strickland a senior as quarterback?
I believe Strickland is.
All running backs are underclassmen. We'll go to the Carolina 1A now, non-conference, again, because Carolina 1A only has 5 schools, so you have a chance to schedule non-conference if you want later in the year. And Hopton entertained Pender and came away with a 68-30 loss. It was Hopton now 2-5 on the year. It was tied 22-all late in the first half. It was 30-22 at halftime. Pender then went on a 38-8 run in the second half, and pulled away, obviously, for the 68-30 win. North Duplin and Lakewood. Lakewood, this is a conference game. Lakewood traveled to undefeated North Duplin and suffered really a major injury to start the game. And already Lacewell was out, but then their quarterback, Godwell, went out as well, too. And they got behind early and stayed behind as North Duplin came away with a 43-24 win over Lakewood. Lakewood now 5-3 and 1-1 in conference play.
I want to mention this. I did not realize until earlier this week that North Duplin has an athlete on their team that's been recruited by like 23 different schools.
Oh yeah, they have over 2,000 yards on the ground this year.
But he's a defensive lineman, I think.
Oh yeah, that kid.
He's been off by a lot. And I was asked somebody who saw him play and said that similar to some of the standouts we've seen in Clinton and other places the last couple of years, that you can just tell he's a man amongst the boys out there when he plays. And at North Duplin, and he's getting 22 offers, he's getting some SEC school offers. That just tells you they'll follow wherever the talent is. Doesn't matter if you're 1A or 4A. If you're good enough, they will find you.
Yeah, North Duplin is an absolute buzzsaw this year, and I feel horrible because they do play a Sampson County team this upcoming week, but I don't know what kind of defensive scheme or offensive scheme, or if you go illegally recruit a bunch of players right before you play North Duplin, because that's probably the only way you can stop them right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see them run deep in the playoffs.
Union's got them this upcoming.
Yeah,
that's
they
gonna
do.
Be tough.
Yeah, but yeah, Lakewood had that early injury to Ryland Godbold. Not that they passed the ball a whole lot, but and his backup Rita Ammons, who's a true freshman, he can pass the ball as needed. But I think that was more of an impact on the team morale.
Yeah, kind of took the air out of everything.
Yeah, and my boots on the ground reporter said that it just felt kind of dead on the Lakewood sidelines there. So thoughts and prayers go out to Godbold. Hopefully he recovers quick. Hopefully we see Lacewell back in action this week against Hopton. I had a tough time picking the winner of that game because that sets the tone for the season for both teams. I can't even remember who I picked because it was such a toss-up for me because I'm super
You're talking about for this upcoming game?
Yeah.
You've already given your picks.
Well, it comes out tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah,
So it's a
That's
preview.
called a tease.
Yeah, it's a teaser for more. Find out tomorrow in the Sampson Independent.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, no, so I really can't even remember who I picked because I could write a 10-page story on both teams and their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
It'll be a good game. It'll be the Sampson game of the week. Check that out in Saturday's edition.
It could be one of our games of the week here.
Dark Horse Sports Network will be there this Friday.
Yep.
We'll be there at Lakewood High School. Pregame 6:15. Game starts at 7 o'clock. It'll be 2-5 Lakewood at 2-5 Hopton at 5-3 Lakewood. Lakewood 1-1 in conference and Hopton 0-1.
The only real dilemma you and Ron have to figure out is which one of you guys is going to do play-by-play on Friday.
I'll do it. I'll call in from down on the sidelines.
Yeah, we'll get Brandon.
Union dropped a 46-18 decision to Rosewood. Union now 0-7 and 0-2 in conference play. Lone bright spot for Union, Tobias Cromartie, freshman, had 30 rushes for 193 yards and the 3 TDs all in the second half there.
That is a
for
bright
Union.
spot.
So
Yeah.
Union going to host North Duplin. It was 6-0 this week.
He was my athlete of the week this week, just from what I saw in the Lakewood game. They were down by a lot, didn't have a lot of points in that game, and he just never quit. You could put that team, you could stack up the entire team on his back, and he's running as hard as he can. The same from the first play to the last play. It doesn't matter what that scoreboard says. Cromartie's out there running the ball.
That's a good look for Coach Oates.
Oh yeah,
in the
they have a
future.
very bright future. They have a very young team right now, so they have a very bright future ahead of them. Don't count them out.
We'll be back with tennis and cross country and volleyball next here on Pressbox Chat.
Stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group. Whether it's a sports injury, joint pain, or the need for expert surgical care, Sampson Orthopedic Group has you covered. Our team of skilled providers are here to get you back and doing what you love, pain-free. From advanced joint replacements to comprehensive sports medicine, we offer personalized, compassionate care that will get you back to doing what you love. Discover expert care right here in your community at Sampson Orthopedic Group. Call Sampson Orthopedic Group today at 910-590-1001. Again, call 910-590-1001 and stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group.
The Pressbox Chatter brought to you in part by Crumbler Plastic Pipe Incorporated, Agricultural Drain Systems, Constructed Wetlands, Septic Sewer Drain Pipes, For more information, call 910-525-4046 or log on to the website www.cpp-pipe.com.
Welcome back to Pressbox Chatter, sponsored by Crumpler Plastic of Roseboro, Sampson Orthopedic Group, Star TV, and the Sampson Independent. Go to Sampson Independent's website, clintonnc.com. See the video replay of each week's show, and the video replay is also available at oldies1170.com. Cross Country is holding their conference championships. The Carolina 1A has had theirs actually today at the Cliffs of the Noose at 4:30. Coach Masters up at Hopton will shoot me the results. We'll have those for you next round, actually tomorrow morning on the morning show. We'll have next week here on the Pressbox Chatter. And the Southeastern Athletic Conference will have their conference championship tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So men's and women's championships will be decided then. Tennis regular season is over, and they've also had the qualifiers for the regionals. Herald's finished 12-7. They had a 9-0 win last week against Southeast Homeschool to finish the regular season. They're in the first round of the playoffs. Today, they went to Burlington Christian Academy at 2:45. Burlington Christian Academy was 4-7. They hosted 12-7 Heralds. That's the first round of the playoffs for the private schools or independent schools. That was today. Clinton won the regular season in tennis, and they'll be the number 1 seed. They're 10-9 overall. West Bladen finished the year as the number 2 seed out of the Southeastern Athletic Conference. They were 9-5 overall. East Bladen finished 4-6, but they were the number 1 seed, the number 1 team in the 1A classification, the 1A, 2A. That's a split conference East Bladen's in, and they should go to the playoffs as the number 1 seed from their conference there as well. Playoffs will start next week. Seeding, dual bracketing seeding is the 18th. First round of playoffs is Monday. Second round of playoffs is Wednesday. So I'll have those results and maybe hopefully some future contests that teams win coming up. Individual regionals are this week, Friday and Saturday. And from the Southeastern Athletic Conference for Clinton, Allie Naylor and Madison Avery will be participating in singles. And for doubles, it will be Miley Edgerton and April Sinclair. For West Bladen doubles, Lauren Douglas and Yuri Sanchez will be participating in the doubles regionals this week. We'll wish those girls best of luck. We'll transition now to volleyball, and we'll start out with the hot team overall. Continue to be hot, 113 in a row now, and that will be Midway.
Yeah, Midway 17-3 overall, 9-0. First place in the SAC 6 conference, number 16 in 2A East. You said currently on a 13-game winning streak. Is that what you said? 13-game winning streak, beating Wallace Rose Hill and Clinton twice in that span, and only dropping 3 total sets all to Wallace Rose Hill. Caden Moore, Samantha Carter, Grayson Hall are among area leaders in various stats. So they faced off against the 6-13 St. Paul's tonight. So Midway will likely get to 10-0 in the SAC 6 conference and 18-3 overall if they defeat St. Paul's tonight.
And this is finishing up the regular season play this week in the Southeastern Athletic Conference. Clinton will finish second overall in conference play. They're at 7-2 and 15-5.
Yeah, it looks like that they beat Red Springs.
Well, last week they beat Red Springs last Tuesday, 3-0, and then they were down 2-1 to St. Paul's last Thursday. Came back and won the 4th set, 25-23. Won the 5th set, 15-9. Had a 3-2 comeback victory over St. Paul's, their second 3-2 win over St. Paul's this year.
And then they're at 1-16 Fairmont tonight. So with the win tonight at Fairmont, if they win that game, they'll move to 16-5 on the year and 8-2, which is good enough for second place with their only 2 losses in conference being to Midway.
And they defeated also Red Springs yesterday, 3-6.
Yes, Red Springs is 2-13.
West Bladen lost 3-0 to Midway last Tuesday. They defeated Fairmont 3-0 last Thursday. And they currently sit in 4th place in conference play at 4-5 in the conference. 1 game behind St. Paul's. They're 8-11 overall.
Yeah, 4-5 in the conference. Talia Bethea, Jalen Clark, Natalie Sykes, Marley Walters are team leaders in various categories. They are at 2-13 Red Springs tonight, so it looks like they could potentially get their 9th win of the year, moving them to 9-11 overall and 500, 5-5 in the conference.
East Bladen will go to the 1A, 2A Waccamaw. East Bladen defeated West Columbus 3-0 last Wednesday, then dropped a 3-0 decision yesterday to Whiteville. That finishes their regular season. They are 8-10 overall. They are 5 and 7, and it's good for 5th in the walk-ball.
Yeah, most likely that won't be good enough for a playoff spot.
Well, again, it's a 1A, 2A split.
So
so
it could be.
You
It could be.
have to look at their overall in terms of the 1A. They are the number 2 1A team in that classification.
So they could make it.
So they could make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yes, it depends. That's going to depend on RPI.
That's those 1A, 2A split conferences that you just you hate to love, love to hate, however you want to do it. But we can't help out sometimes.
Yeah, see, the whole conference tournament, some conferences have them, some don't, and it sits there in between regular season and the playoffs, plus extending the season 1 week with the NCHSAA, and then the 1A, 2A split, and this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I'm just really confused sometimes on this, so whatever you guys say, I'm going to roll with it, and I'm going to do more research.
Well, hey, Savel's the I give him the moniker of the BDI, the Ball Dome Index, because he's
A lot of our playoffs will start next Tuesday, so they'll be seeded this Sunday. They'll start next Tuesday, second round next Thursday. So we on air next Tuesday. We'll know who's in and who's out and who's where. And as Grant mentioned, teams finishing their regular season play and having a conference tournament, that would apply to the Carolina 1A, 2A. As last week for regular season play, Hopton defeated Union 3-2, then lost to North Duplin 3-9. They finished the season 4th place, 13-5, overall 5-5 in conference play. Lakewood dropped 2 games, both News Charter and Rosewood, two matches, both 3-0. They finished 3-16 and 1-9, and then Union lost 3-2 to Hopton and 3-0 to News Charter, and they finished 1-19 overall and 1-9 in conference play. Had the conference tournament started yesterday, and Lakewood lost to North Duplin. Their season is finished. And then Hopton defeated Union. And then Hopton today has Rosewood, the 4 seed Hopton in the conference against 20-2 Rosewood. That game started at 5 o'clock at North Duplin in the semifinals.
yeah, that's going to be a tough one.
Lastly, then, we'll finish up. We started with one of the best teams. We'll end up with one of the best teams. Mintz, right? 20-1 right now, 15-0 in conference play.
Yeah, so they are the Max Preps number 35 team in the state. They had dropped down to 42 from 33 a couple of weeks ago when they did lose that one game to a team they beat earlier in the season. Yeah, so...
And that was not a conference game.
No, that was not a conference game. And, you know, funny enough, the top 2 teams in that conference, which are Berean Baptist and Northwood, Mintz has just handled them pretty well all season except for the 3-2 loss to Northwood, so they might as well join that conference and win that one too. Yeah, Mintz, again, put them in the butter category because they're rolling and they I don't see much getting in their way. I don't know how their
Well, we
conference...
should see how. Well, I'll text Coach Hines and finish to get with him and how what the playoffs will be like and all that. Because last year they went to the national tournament in Ohio, and those only loss was in the finals. So that they defeated Antioch Christian Academy last Tuesday 3-0, and then Liberty Christian Academy 3-0. They finish up the season this Thursday at Temple Christian, and that'll wrap up the regular season from
I
there.
had a question. Maybe you guys don't know it, but how, when you're dealing with schools like that, sort of, you said they played a national tournament last year. Did they get a state title? Did they play a state title thing?
I don't know if I can add something. I have to ask the Coach Hines.
Yeah.
He can bring up things and talk about things.
Yeah, that's true, that we don't know enough about. So.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research today. The team they lost to last year went like 49-1. They played like 50 volleyball games last year.
Anderson.
Yeah, it was out of Anderson, Indiana. They were a homeschool team that went like 49-1 last year. They lost like 6 sets out of 125 or something.
You reminded me of something, Savel, the team you've been following in the mornings. What's the name of that team? How are they doing this year?
Oh, that was last year. That gets into the talk about.
Oh, man.
we got soccer to talk about.
We do have soccer.
We got soccer, then our games of the week picks coming up too. That'll be next here on Pressbox Chatter.
The Pressbox Chatter is brought to you in part by Plastic Pipe Incorporated, agricultural drain systems, constructed wetlands, septic sewer drain pipes. For more information, call 910-525-4046 or log on to the website www.cpp-pipe.com.
Stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group. Whether it's a sports injury, joint pain, or the need for expert surgical care, Sampson Orthopedic Group has you covered. Our team of skilled providers are here to get you back and doing what you love, pain-free. From advanced joint replacements to comprehensive sports medicine, we offer personalized, compassionate care that will get you back to doing what you love. Discover expert care right here in your community at Sampson Orthopedic Group. Call Sampson Orthopedic Group today at 910-590-1001. Again, call 910-590-1001 and stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group.
Welcome back to Pressbox Chatter. Thanks again for tuning in. It's on Star Communication Channel 16, always1170.com, and Mixed Rap will be here every Tuesday throughout the high school sports season. We'll finish up the day with soccer. And soccer, we still got a couple weeks to go with the soccer regular season. It gets in with football. Once the playoffs do start, and the playoffs will push back a little bit, but once they get started, their season will be November 7th. That's a Thursday. And their first round game is Saturday, November 9th. Boy, they'll get it done in about a 2-week period there. The championships, well, it's because they're going to kind of compacted. It's compacted now because of they're pushing things back.
Yeah.
But they'll go Saturday, November 9th, the first round, and that following week, if you're good enough, you'll play 3 games in a week's time. Actually, from November 9th to November 16th, you can play 4 games in 8 days in the playoffs. So it'll be a quick playoff schedule. And somebody looking to make some noise will be the Clinton Dark Horses. They are now 16-1, 4-0 in conference play.
Yeah, the Dark Horses beat St. Paul's 2-0, which having to talk with head coach Brad Spell, he really thought St. Paul's just kind of it was 0-0 at halftime. Really played them about as well as anybody in conference has the last couple of years, with the exception of Midway. And so J.J. Najera and Oscar Daziak scored. Louis Bartolome was in goal. They defeated Seaforth on Monday 8-0. Griffin Williams, Brant Sumner each had 3 goals and 1 assist. Nelson Guerrero and Holden Spill all had goals. Now, Clinton's on an 8-game winning streak. They've been outscoring opponents during this win streak 48-1. They will face off against Midway this Wednesday at 6:30. The other big game on their schedule
That should be 13-1 and 3, not 15.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. So the next big game after that, non-conference, Franklin Academy.
State champion, Franklin Academy.
Yeah, Franklin Academy. It will come to Clinton. It'll be at home. It'll be at 6 o'clock. So if you got a chance, you go out and check that one up. Dark Horses, if they can finish strong, if they can beat Franklin and they can get that, they are going to be knocking on the door. It'll come down between RPI, but it'll be between them and potentially Green Central for the number 1 seed in the East for soccer, and which will pretty much mean that the state championship goes through Clinton, at least for the East. And so they've got to finish strong, though.
Yeah, they're such a fun team to watch. I can't wait to cover them. I'll be there Thursday. Coach Spell saw me on the sidelines last Friday at the football game, and he's like, "Man, we got a big game coming up Thursday. You better be there." And I was like, "You got it, Coach. Whatever you need." So yeah, that'll be a fun game.
Yeah, give me a pass so I get in free.
Midway, play Midway tomorrow, and a win there will basically sew up the conference championship for the Dark Horses. They would have 2 games and a tiebreaker up on Midway with 4 games left, but the other 3 teams. St. Paul's has been tricky. As you see, they lost 1-0 to Midway as well, too. St. Paul's will give you a battle. Red Springs and West Bladen, non-competitive with Clinton. So Clinton wins tomorrow. They will have won the conference championship. Midway, it's a chance to tie for it. Play it out. You have a tie for the conference championship. Maybe make some noise for Midway and some higher seeding for them in the playoffs. Midway, 11-3-1, 3-1 in conference play. Had a 7-4 win over Red Springs last Wednesday. It was 4-4 at the half. A lot of scoring. Nothing in the second half. And then Midway scored 3 goals in the 2 10-minute overtime. And they pull away from Red Springs and win 7-4. Yesterday, again, a 1-0 win over, again, a very tricky St. Paul's team there for the 2 victories last week.
So for those listening that don't quite understand that, so the way that it works, at least in the high school, is for soccer, is that when you make it to overtime, you're guaranteed 2 10-minute overtime sessions, and then after that, it goes to a sudden death before penalty kicks. That's why there was 3 goals allowed to be scored during that time, and it wasn't called as soon as the first score took place. I just wanted to mention that in case, because I would be confused too.
Yeah, I'd have to ask Coach Spell about after the 2 10 minutes if they keep playing or just call it a tie right now.
It
Some
depends.
schools, it depends on the
It depends on
conference.
if you're non-conference. They usually call it a tie, but in the
play,
conference,
they're breaking conferences.
yeah.
Although not all do, as we'll get down to East Bladen here, we'll talk about them shortly. Luke McCray had 2 goals for Midway against Red Springs. Everett Jackson, Max Ferrito, Louis Ferrito, Nash Warren, Jaden Espinino, and Diaz also scored. Yesterday, Keller Godwin was standout in goal for Midway's got the 1-0 win over St. Paul's. Again, they're at Clinton this Wednesday.
That'll be a big
That's
crowd.
the only game this week for till next Tuesday for Midway. West Bladen broke a 4-game losing streak yesterday with a 4-2 win over Red Springs. They're now 7-5 overall, 1-3 in conference play.
Yeah, Ortiz Hernandez with the first name Jonathan that I love so much. He had 2 goals. Jonah Bryan and Kevin De La Cruz Lapra had a goal each as well. They play St. Paul's on Wednesday for West Bladen. That's going to be tough, and then they turn right around on Monday and play the Dark Horses. Again, 7-5 on the year as West Bladen 1-3 in the conference.
Waccamaw 1A, 2A. It was a battle for first place yesterday. East Bladen went up against Pender. East Bladen defeated West Columbus 5-1 last Wednesday with Chase Butler, Tevin McLean, Gabrielle Ogazi, Camden Scott, and Victor Alonso all scoring. Colton Daly stopped 6 or 7 shots. That set up a first-place battle with Pender. Pender, though, East Bladen was up 1-0 at half, but Pender comes back with 2 second-half goals and wins 2-1. Chase Butler had to go, and Devin Butler had the assist for East Bladen. That drops East Bladen to 6-1-1. Pender remains undefeated in conference play at 8-0. East Bladen and Pender will play one more time at East Bladen. Problem is, you've got that tie in there.
Yeah.
And that means Pender would have to lose twice for you to get there. So Pender has really a game and a half.
Or tie
advantage.
somebody else, right?
Or have a tie also on. So Pender's got the advantage there as they go to the last 4 games of the regular season of the Waccamaw 1A, 2A. Heralds had finished their regular season at 6-9-1. They finished up the year with a 2-2 tie against Liberty Christian last Thursday. Adrian Marquez had both goals for the Crusaders. They started their playoffs today at Wayne Country Day, who was 8-10. First round of playoffs at 4 o'clock. They did not play in the regular season. We'll go to the Carolina 1A, 2A. And in that division, Hopton is 13-5-1, 7-0. Perfect conference mark. They beat Rosewood 8-1. I didn't have the score on your paper there, gentlemen. Sorry. They defeated Moose Charter yesterday 9-0.
Yeah, and it looks like Hopton's on a 8-game winning streak here, outscoring opponents 63-3. They have Lakewood tomorrow for their senior night, and at Union 6:30 Monday. They had Lakewood's number the first time I believe they won 8-1. But as I guess I'll lead right into what I was going to talk about with Lakewood. I've been to their last 2 home games. Last week was a 4-3 come from behind win, and yesterday was a 2-0 win over North Duplin. Lakewood is my dark horse of soccer in this area. Don't let their record fool you. With Lakewood, they're a really scrappy team. They'll get after it. And their offensive pressure is just something I've never seen before. So Lakewood or Hopton might not have it as easy as they think tomorrow night.
It'll be interesting to give you senior night at Hopton. It's Lakewood at Hopton. Lakewood 5-1-1, Hopton 7-0. Again, Lakewood could get that win over Hopton, give Hopton the first loss, but then Lakewood again sitting there with that tie, which again gives Hopton the extra advantage in conference play.
Ties are great, but only for dress shirts.
Union 2-14, 1-6. They got lost 7-0 to Lakewood last week, and then 5-1 to Rosewood yesterday. They'll be at North Duplin this Wednesday at 6 o'clock, and then they host Hopton on senior night 6:30 next Monday. That's your Carolina 1A classification. And we'll come to think of it, we did mention Heroes. Go back to volleyball.
Yeah, I thought we didn't.
I think when I was skipping, it was going about Heroes and soccer. All of a sudden, I think we skipped over Heroes and
Yeah, I had a really
volleyball
good-
because they are in conference. They're in tournament action, not all playoff action again tonight. So let's go. Sorry about that, everybody. We'll go back to Heroes and volleyball here.
Yeah, and I thought maybe I had missed it, but I guess it was not the case there. Herald's is 9-10 on the season, 4-6, which is good enough for 4th in the NCISAA Coastal Independent Conference. And whoever was our producer that put these show notes in here said, how are they independent but belong to a conference? But as he wrote that, he might have understood that as independent from the NCHSAA, but still belonging to a conference.
Yeah, this isn't the NCAA.
Yeah, but yeah, they lost their opening round of tournament play to Halifax Academy 3-1.
Their conference tournament.
Yes, conference tournament play. They face 5-12 Liberty Christian tonight. Team leaders really haven't changed much here with Izzy Bradshaw, Mary Willow Rumble, Lexi Bass, and Riley Dixon leading the team in kills, assists, serving aces, and digs.
Yep, and they play again, like I say, the first round of the playoffs. That game started at 5 o'clock. They played once this year, and they defeated Liberty Christian 3 sets to none. So hopefully Heroes can duplicate that and advance to the second round of the playoffs.
I'll tell you what, you listen to this show every Tuesday, you're going to learn a lot about a lot of teams that maybe you don't follow. And that was the whole goal of doing this show, is to give a lot of the county and surrounding counties like Bladen County, like some stuff, because you don't always get a chance to hear about it every single day. A lot of people, if you love sports, we got sports.
There's a lot of talented people around. It's good to bring their names out, give them a little notoriety there. We're back for our Games of the Week coming up here after these messages on Pressbox Chatter.
Stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group. Whether it's a sports injury, joint pain, or the need for expert surgical care, Sampson Orthopedic Group has you covered. Our team of skilled providers are here to get you back and doing what you love, pain-free. From advanced joint replacements to comprehensive sports medicine, we offer personalized, compassionate care that will get you back to doing what you love. Discover expert care right here in your community at Sampson Orthopedic Group. Call Sampson Orthopedic Group today at 910-590-1001. Again, call 910-590-1001 and stay in the game with Sampson Orthopedic Group.
The Pressbox Chatter brought to you in part by Plastic Pipe Incorporated, agricultural drain systems, constructed wetlands, septic sewer drain pipes. For more information, call 910-525-4046 or log on to the website www.cpp-pipe.com.
Back for our closing segment of Pressbox Chatter. Here, as we kind of always pick our Games of the Week. Thanks for tuning in and joining us. Again, Pressbox Chatter brought to you by Sampson Orthopedic Group, Crumpler Plastic of Roseboro, Star Telephone, and the Sampson Independent. Go to their website, clintonnc.com, for the video replay, and always1170.com will have the video replay of Pressbox Chatter as well. Games of the Week coming up. Football. The Dark Horse Sports Network will be at Lakewood this week. It'll be Hopton at Lakewood. That should be a very entertaining contest. And I'm going to pick my one, volleyball. Volleyball Hopton tonight was playing Rosewood in the semifinals of their conference tournament. And then for soccer, I know you've got one with Clinton. I'm going to pick the one Thursday. Of course, you've got to win your conference games, but Clinton has a huge soccer game against Franklin Academy this Thursday at Clinton High School. That should be a pretty good one.
Not to be overshadowed, the game prior to that is Clinton at home against Midway tomorrow night at 6:30. That stadium will be packed. It'll be about 50-50 because Midway travels. They love to come over to Clinton, if nothing but just to talk junk. And so everybody will be there ready to watch a great game.
Midway a chance to tie for the conference lead.
That's going to be a big one.
To clinch the conference.
That's crazy though. Clinton's got to play that tough of a game Wednesday, turn around and battle another tough game the following night as well. So that's going to be a tough 2-game stretch there for the Dark Horse soccer team.
Yeah, and if there's a team to do it, it would be Clinton. So my game of the week, I was telling Sawville right there at the break that it's Lakewood playing News Charter on Monday, not playing Hopton Wednesday. Hopton already had their number earlier this year, so I don't anticipate that one being that close. But they do play News Charter on Monday, and as it sits right now, Lakewood is second in the conference. I don't see them. I don't see a path for them to drop to third. But just for RPI reasonings and everything, and to solidify that second place behind Hopton, I think Lakewood goes out there and kind of beats up on News Charter next Monday.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week here on Pressbox Chatter.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you at the ballgame.
The Pressbox Chatter Show on WCLN is brought to you in part by the Sampson Independent. Don't forget to tune in every Tuesday at 6 for the latest broadcast on 1170 AM, Star TV Channel 16, oldies1170.com, and the Mixler app. And remember, when it's time for sports, it's always time for the Pressbox Chatter Show.